Okay, you knew this was coming at some point, and today we are going to not necessarily do push-ups, but we're building to be able to do push-ups. If you can do them already, great, but you're only going to get better with your performance by the end of this challenge. And the people that are in the beginning that you just can't quite do a push-up, this is going to be a great first exercise for you. Push-ups involve a lot of other muscles other than just your arms. So a lot of times the reason that you can't do a push-ups may be partly because you can't do it because of your arm strength, but a lot of it may be weakness in another area, like your abdominals, your back, or your hips. There are very common reasons why people can't do it. So we are going to do a plank exercise today. And for those of you that are like, oh yeah, I can do a plank really easily, great. And if you can't, then that's going to be something that you are going to be able to do. So what you want to do to start with, if you have any wrist issues, and I would say before you do any types of plank, you want to make sure that you warm your wrists up a little bit first. So I am going to challenge you a little bit. We're not doing a low plank where you're resting on your forearms. I'm actually having you do a high plank exercise. If you cannot do it because, again, your wrists are bothering you, this is what you would be doing if you were going to be doing a push-up. So that was the reason that I wanted to start at this particular point. But again, if you feel like your wrists are bugging you, you would actually hold the position on your forearms and you're still going to get a great exercise from this. You just want to make sure that your elbows are underneath your shoulder. Similar to a high plank, our hands are going to be underneath our shoulders. So when I teach this in PiYo class and I'm live, I'm able to make the adjustments on an individual level, and clearly I'm not there with you right now other than through video and our online communication. But make sure you always ask questions if you do have any issues. If you have persistent point-specific pain, as I've mentioned to you before, make sure you consult your doctor for that, because we do want to have things that you just start to notice. Get them checked out now so it won't bloom into something much worse that will set you back for a longer period of time. So modification is key, and potentially some follow-up, okay? So for your plank exercise today, you're going to come onto your hands and knees to start. My hands are underneath my shoulders, and you're actually going to prevent your shoulders coming up to your ears, okay? So you want to almost push away, and I'm actually keeping my head in midline. I'm looking at you because I care about you, but you would want to have your head down, almost like you're looking at the ground, and you can see that my feet are about hip width apart. Now, right here, if you felt like, well, I can already feel, you can see that my arms have some tension in them, you could actually start here, and the exercise can just be touching the opposite hand to the opposite leg, okay? What this is doing is increasing strength on my opposite side. My shoulder doesn't drop. I'm holding myself nice and straight, parallel to the ground. And when I'm in PiYo class, I'm actually telling people it's almost like you have a glass of water on your back. So when you go to do this, if you feel like when you go to touch your leg, which is harder than touching the shoulder, so that's another modification that you can make. If you just touch the shoulder here, my arm is doing the work. I'm touching my opposite hand to my opposite shoulder, but I'm not letting my body rotate down. So there's a lot going on here, which is awesome because you're not feeling like, oh my gosh, this is like Sweatfest 2020. You're actually just feeling like you're working muscles that maybe you weren't even thinking that you could do because it was too easy. But you want to do this for at least a minute, or I want you to do, say, 20 reps. That would be 1. That would be 2. And then, so if you're like, okay, well, I'm going to do that, then I'm going to progress and go 1, 1, and that would be 1 rep, 2, being aware of your form, keeping your belly button close to your spine. I'm not arching my back. If I was looking to the side, again, this is important here that you're not doing this. You're pulling up into that neutral position, okay? So from the side, again, my shoulders are not up. You're keeping them away from your neck and ears, and you're keeping your back neutral, okay? So now if I were to straighten my legs, what happens, again, a lot of times people do plank and they're way up here. You've got to come down. So my shoulders, my hip, and my ankle are in one line. Now again, so if you have to come up here, or if you're actually doing a sway back, I'd rather have you be with your butt up a little bit than to be arching your back, because that has more potential to hurt you. So do not do that. And if you find that you can't hold a neutral form, you need to do the easier positions that I just showed you. Or for the third set, you would go down and hold your low plank. So the same thing applies. Bring it down and you would hold this. Try to hold it for 30 seconds or as long as you can. You can also put a knee down, which I'll show you from the side, that if you're up like this and you're like, oh, I need a break, just bring that opposite knee down to try to get through the full 30 seconds as a modification. You're still getting a ton of work done. So don't let yourself get beat up. You're still being very productive by doing something. If you don't do it, you're not going to progress and you're going to end up with some problems down the line. So when you modify, there's nothing wrong with that. I applaud you for trying. You're aware of a limitation. You're working to make it better. And if you have any other issues medically, you don't want to not do anything because those problems are going to compound into bigger, more multiple problems. So applaud yourself, pat yourself on the back, and be very proud of what you're doing because it's fabulous and it's only going to get better. Okay, so for those of you who are like, okay, I can do all that. I did that. I'm ready to rock it today. I'm going to do myself a huge favor and I'm going to bring myself up here. And now you can let's just do shoulder taps today. So what you would do is 1, 1. So you can see I'm actually shifting a little bit, and then 2, 2. So see how that changed when I actually tightened my thighs up a little bit. I had my heels back. You can see my toes right here, and you would do just continue to count. And then when you need a break, go ahead and stop, but I want you to do at least 10 today. So today's challenge is a little bit harder, but we're starting to progress a little bit. We're getting into the groove. You're finding time for yourself. You're starting to feel a little bit more empowered. Your energy's better. So you might as well not push a little bit more today and see what you bring out in yourself. All right, good job, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.